Chapter 46:31. 46:31. It's worthwhile to accept him as a disciple when Xueqing Zhu, a woman and top genius in the outer boundary, became a saint at a young age. She shocked everyone. At that time, she was the youngest saint in the history of the outer boundary. Previously, those who held the record were all men. Not only did she break their records, but she was also the first woman to do so. For these reasons, she was famous in the outer boundary. Behind these achievements were Xueqing Zhu's blood, sweat, and tears. All her time was spent cultivating and learning from others to grow stronger. Day after day, year after year, her routine remained the same. In the end, her hard work paid off, and she became the youngest saint in the history of the outer boundary. Many female cultivators in the outer boundary regarded Xueqing Zhu as their idol. Among them, many of them were from the myriad world before moving to the outer boundary, like Huangfu Mingyuan, Duanling Tian's eldest senior sister from the Myriad Laws Academy's Inner Palace faction. Previously, when Duanling Tian chatted with Huangfu Mingyuan, he had heard mentioning Xueqing Zhu as well, and she even said that she wanted to be like Xueqing Zhu. At that time, Huangfu Mingyuan deliberately hid the fact that Xueqing Zhu was a woman from Duanling Tian, so he assumed he was a male cultivator. He thought his senior sister idolized the other party simply because the other party was extraordinarily talented. It was only later on that he realized Xueqing Zhu was a woman. Xueqing Zhu was completely focused on cultivation, so she did not have time for other matters such as marriage. As she grew stronger, quite a few people mentioned the matter of marriage to her, but she did not take them seriously. Moreover, it was difficult for her to find a man about her age who was as strong as her, let alone find one that was stronger than her. She naturally had no interest in men who were inferior to her. For this reason, she was single until now. In fact, her life was rather similar to that of Feng Qingyang. He also devoted himself to the sword Dao and to growing stronger. For that reason, he had been single. It was also due to his inexperience that he did not know how to express his feelings to Xueqing Zhu. Xueqing Zhu was also inexperienced in this regard. Even if it was obvious that Feng Qingyang liked her, she did not notice it. She only thought that Feng Qingyang treated her as a friend until Duanling Tian asked if she was single and recommended Feng Qingyang. After that, she recalled how friendly Feng Qingyang had been, and she could not help but blush. At the same time, Feng Qingyang was embarrassed. He did not expect Duanling Tian to be so straightforward. He could not help but glare at Duanling Tian before he explained, "Miss Xue, he was just joking with you." Xueqing Zhu nodded and took a deep breath to calm down before she looked at Duanling Tian and said seriously, "Mr. Duan, I came here with Mr. Feng to spar with you. I heard Mr. Feng said that you're stronger than him. I really want to see it for myself." Duanling Tian smiled and said, "I don't mind sparring with you. However, I'm not very motivated since there's no prize or benefit to it." Little Tian. Feng Qingyang frowned. He did not expect Duanling Tian to make things difficult for Xueqing Zhu. After all, Duanling Tian knew he liked Xueqing Zhu. Why would he treat his master's future wife like that? Xueqing Zhu frowned slightly, but she still asked, "Then what kind of prize do you want?" Duanling Tian pretended to ponder a moment. He did not answer the question. Instead, he calmly said, "How about this? Since your strongest Dao is the sword Dao, well, spar using the sword Dao. Well, attack with all our might, and if you can stop 3 of my attacks, you win. Otherwise, you lose." Feng Qingyang raised his eyebrows slightly upon hearing this. At the same time, a hint of anger could be seen on Xueqing Zhu's face. After all, she was also a level 7 supreme powerhouse like Duanling Tian. She felt like he was looking down on her when he proposed determining the outcome of the match with only 3 strikes. "All right," Xueqing Zhu replied. Her voice was much colder than before. She really wanted to see how strong he was. In her opinion, even if according to Feng Qingyang, she was no match for Duanling Tian, the gap between their strength could not be that big. It was absolutely impossible for him to defeat her with 3 strikes. After a moment, she asked again, "What prize do you want? And if I win, what will I gain?" Duanling Tian smiled and said, "If you win, I'll owe you a favor. I'll do anything you ask as long as it doesn't violate my principles, and it's within my capability." Xueqing Zhu's eyes lit up upon hearing this. This was indeed a valuable prize. Duan Tian continued to say, "If you lose, you have to stay in the God-defying world for 1,000 years. To be precise, you have to stay in my master's heavenly emperor's palace in the solitary destructive heaven as a guest. Apart from that, you can't be in closed-door cultivation for more than 300 years during this time. Of course, during this time, you can return to the outer boundary if there's something urgent you have to attend to. However, you can't leave for more than a year at a time. In total, your time away can't exceed 10 years. Upon hearing this, Xue Qingzhu looked at Feng Qingyang, wondering if it was the latter's idea. Meanwhile, Feng Qingyang finally realized Duan Tian's intention. He felt that it was really worthwhile accepting Duan Tian as his disciple. However, when he saw the expression on Xue Qingzhu's face, he looked at her innocently and shook his head. "What do you think?" Duan Tian asked. Striking the iron while it was hot, he continued to goad her. "Miss Xue, don't tell me you're not confident about stopping 3 strikes from me?" Who knew if Xue Qingzhu did not mind staying in the solitary destructive heaven, or if Duan Tian's provocative words were effective? In the end, she nodded and said, "All right, I agree." Chapter 46-32. Hearing Xue Qingzhu's agreement, Duan Lingshan's eyes flashed a light, and then nodded. "Since you agreed, fellow Taoist Xue, let's find a shattered small world to discuss. I will use 3 swords to determine the outcome." Then, Duan Tian and the others directly tore apart the space, left the Nishan realm, and randomly found a small realm that had long been destroyed in the 10,000 realms, and the power of the realm had already been drained away, and there were no more living creatures. This kind of small boundary area is barren in the eyes, like locusts passing through. Now, the place where Duan Tian and the others stand in the air is just above the ruins of a city in this small world. There are countless ruins in the ruins. Judging from the architectural style, it is completely different from any architectural style he knows. It looks different. There is style. It's a pity that it has been destroyed in the long river of history and cannot see the glory of the past. What's more, at this time, the surrounding area where the 3 of Ling Tian stood in the air sometimes had strange turmoil in the space, and space cracks appeared on their own, and then slowly closed, appearing elsewhere, repeating itself again and again, which shows the weakness of the space barrier in this small world. Vulnerable. And this, in fact, is also the reason for losing the power of the boundary. The power of a realm is related to the rise and fall of a realm. Losing the power of a realm also means losing vitality, losing all aura in the realm, and the strength of any realm will fade with the passage of time, gradually decrease, or even disappear completely. In this case, the strong realm destroys the weak realm and seizes the power of its realm for its own use. Today's myriad realms, the upper 3 realms, and the middle 18 realms are mostly ancient realms. Under normal circumstances, the power of their realms should have disappeared in the long river of history and even destroyed the realm. It is precisely because the powerful people in these realms are like clouds, invading the small realms everywhere, and seizing the power of the small realms to supplement themselves, they can survive for a long time. The same is true for the anti-God realm. Otherwise, the God against God realm would have disappeared in the long river of history long ago. Among the cultivators, the weak will eat the strong, and the fittest will survive. The same is true between boundaries. However, it is still the practitioners of the major realms that dominate the rise and fall of the realms. Use your sword. Xue Qingzhu opened his mouth slowly, and the ethereal and cold figure stood with his sword. His body was as straight as a sword, and bursts of fierce aura emanated from his body, as if his whole body had turned into a sword in a defensive posture at this moment, standing proudly in the sky between. At this time, Feng Qingyang had already stood in the distance to watch the battle. At the same time, the spiritual consciousness is spread out, be vigilant in all directions, and prevent someone from approaching or even sneak attacking. Of course, the main thing is to guard against Lei Hong. Once a big war breaks out in the small world, it will definitely attract the most powerful people from all the powerful worlds. Lei Hong, as the existence of the 7th level of the strongest, will also be alarmed, and may even observe closely. If it is confirmed that the opponent is his disciple Duan Tian, and Lei Hong might show up. At that time, All he has to do is to contain Lei Hong in the first place and prevent Lei Hong from escaping. As long as his disciple regained his composure, it would not be difficult to keep Lei Hong. As for the bet between his disciple and the woman he likes this time, he naturally knows that there is no suspense. If his disciple really wants to be serious, even just a sword is enough to defeat the other party. After all, this disciple of mine has not only stepped into the 7th level of swordsmanship, but also has extremely high attainments in the way of infinity and control. According to his estimation, they are all at least at the 6th level. These two are integrated into the way of swordsmanship, looking at the myriad worlds, and even the places outside the world. Who can be the enemy? This disciple of his really wants to strike with all his strength. Even if it is him, he doesn't think he can block his sword. Good. Facing Xue Qingzhu, who was ready and her pretty face was full of dignity, Duan Lingtian said indifferently. His face was as calm as before, and he even yawned, then raised his hand unhurriedly and struck out with a finger sword. Call out. In an instant, a terrifying sword light that seemed inconspicuous at first, but turned into a huge sword in the sky in an instant, directly splitting the sky in this small world into two, screamed and fell towards Xue Qingzhu's place. The space there is cracked, turbulent currents abound, and even vague illusions appear, as if turning all living beings upside down. These phantoms come from Duan Lingtian's space law, refracting some scenes in the surrounding realms in the form of spatial mirror reflection. Of course, this was not intentional by Duan Lingtian. Instead, the law of space activates itself. In the face of Duan Lingtian's menacing sword, Xue Qingzhu also moved, and the same sword was slashed out. The momentum was rolling. The sword glow swept up like a hurricane, but she stood in the heart of the storm. But she remained motionless. Even her body, there has never been any turmoil in the clothes. The extremely bright sword light appeared in this small world, as if overwhelming the world, unrivaled, invincible, mighty and fierce, facing Duan Lingtian's first sword. Soon, the two sword glows collided together. In the next moment, after a short period of tranquility, terrifying power erupted from it, sweeping in all directions, completely annihilating the small world that was originally fragmented and shaky. The small realm trembled and collapsed, and the remaining realms barely blocked the aftermath of the power from the eruption, but the remaining power of the realms was also lost a lot. Second sword. Duan Lingtian opened his mouth again, and continued to slash out with the second sword, which was slightly stronger than the first sword. Of course, it's only slightly stronger. This sword, just like before, was stopped by Xue Qingzhu. At this moment, Xue Qingzhu was slightly disappointed. I feel like I was fooled by fellow Taoist Feng. Didn't it mean that Duan Lingtian, his disciple, is stronger than him? It's also because Feng Qingyang doesn't know what Xue Qingzhu thinks in his heart. If he knows, he will be extremely wronged. This kid, until now, has not used the way of control and the way of infinity. He knew that Duan Lingtian was holding back and was preparing for the third sword to make a real move, defeating the woman he admired with one sword, so that the other party had to fulfill the bet promised earlier. Everyone, I am Feng Qingyang from the God-defying realm. This is my disciple Duan Lingtian and fellow Taoist Xue Qingzhu from outside the realm. In order to avoid misunderstanding, please step back. When Duan Lingtian made the second sword, many powerful people from Wanjie came from a distance because of curiosity, but before they got close, they were warned by Feng Qingyang, and then they noticed Feng Qingyang's domineering spiritual consciousness envelop their heads, and they retreated one after another while their faces were solemn. No wonder there is such a big commotion. It turns out that Duan Lingtian from the Nishan realm and Xue Qingzhu, the newly promoted 7th level powerhouse from the outer realm, are exchanging ideas. Two great existences of the 7th level of the strongest are fighting, and there is an existence of the 7th level of the strongest standing aside. This scene is really scary. It's a pity that Mr. Feng Qingyang obviously doesn't intend to let us watch. Otherwise, if we can watch this match with our own eyes, it may be helpful to our cultivation. I heard that the newly promoted 7th level powerhouse from the outside world is also a sword cultivator like Lord Feng Qingyang and Lord Duan Lingtian. And when everyone receded in amazement, Lei Hong, who had just sneaked out of the bright light realm and was hiding in the dark, also received the news. His eyes suddenly lit up. Duan Lingtian and Feng Qingyang have left God against God realm? Chapter 46:33. This is a good opportunity to enter the God-defying realm. That brother Duan Lingtian. The people who care about are all on the gods' plane of the gods against the gods, the land of the gods, and they are mainly concentrated in the Xia family, the land of the gods. Lei Hong's eyes were bright, and he felt that he had found a good opportunity for revenge, and he couldn't easily miss it. After all, now not only Duan Lingtian, but also Feng Qingyang has left the God-defying realm. Although Feng Qingyang may not be the deity who left, Duan Lingtian must be the one who competed with Xue Qingzhu, a newly promoted 7th-level powerhouse in the outside world and outside the world. The deity is undoubtedly. If it weren't for the deity, there would be no need to compete with the other party. The place left by the gods, the Xia family. Taking a deep breath, Lei Hong became more and more excited, and at the same time calmed down a little after being excited for a while. Duan Lingtian, the deity is outside, and the clone of the law of time must be staying in the God-defying realm, and it is likely to stay in the Xia family, the land left by the gods. His time law clone is too strong. Even if I recondense the strongest law clone, it is not the opponent of his law clone, and there is no way to do anything to the people of the Xia family. Last time, in the Hongming realm, his strongest law avatar was defeated by Duan Lingshan's time law avatar, which allowed him to see how powerful the law avatars of the 4 supreme laws are, so that he has been mainly studying the 4 supreme laws recently. I want to improve the law of death that I am good at. If his law of death can step into the realm of small perfection and condense the clone of the law, he will not be afraid of Duan Lingshan's clone of the law of time, because Duan Lingshan's law of time is also at the level of small perfection. We must hurry up. Let's just go for a trip. Taking a deep breath, Lei Hong made up his mind. With a look of madness flashing in his eyes, Duan Lingtian, you dare to attack the sect behind me, and even kill the Jesuan in my sect. This is completely disrespecting me. Hong put it in his eyes, and rubbed my Lei Hong's face on the ground. In fact, he didn't have much affection for the sect behind him. Even if the deceased Jesuan died, he didn't feel much. He is a selfish person with weak emotions. How could he be in the life and death of others? What he cares most about is his face. When Duan Lingtian shot at the sect behind him, he was hitting him in the face. Ever since Duan Lingtian took the shot, there have been rumors everywhere in the bright light realm that Duan Lingtian doesn't take Lei Hong seriously, even saying that even though Lei Hong and Duan Lingtian are the same as the 7th-level powerhouse, he has no courage to find Duan Lingtian for revenge in the back. When he heard such words, he was so angry that he killed all those gossiping people. He, Lei Hong, would be afraid of Duan Lingtian? What a joke. If it weren't for Duan Lingshan's good relationship with Meng Han from the outer boundary, if it wasn't for Duan Lingshan's master named Feng Qingyang, if it weren't for Meng Han and Feng Qingyang being both Xian's 7th-level existences, Lei Hong would never have taken revenge on Duan Lingtian. Tear. Lei Hong made a decisive decision, directly tore apart the space, and prepared to sneak into the Nishan realm, kill the Xia family, the land left by the gods, and destroy the Xia family that Duan Lingtian cared about, which made Duan Lingtian feel distressed and even regretted the past. Face. And at the same time as Lei Hong left, Duan Lingtian also made the 3rd sword in the sparring with Xue Qingzhu. Before cutting out this sword, he intentionally reminded Xue Qingzhu, fellow Taoist Xue, with the 2 swords just now, I was just testing your methods casually. This 3rd sword is my real strength. You have to deal with it with all your heart. Don't wait to lose the bet. Blame yourself for not being careful. Duan Lingtian reminded Xue Qingzhu in advance that the future teacher in front of him was not convinced. Good. Xue Qingzhu immediately became vigilant when she heard the words. Just now, because of the casual mentality that she could easily deal with the previous 2 swords, she also completely restrained herself. Her intuition told her that it was unlikely that fellow Taoist Feng would lie to her, and that fellow Taoist Duan should really be a big deal. Call out. When Duan Lingshan's 3rd sword was slashed out, the wind and cloud shook in an instant, and all the turbulence in the surrounding space was shattered, as if half of it had been turned into nothingness. Terrible power swept in all directions, as if shaking the 9 heavens and 10 earths with an overwhelming momentum. And in the next moment, it was this earth-shattering attacking gesture, which instantly restrained its sharpness and condensed itself. The sword light that flew out seemed to have become a low profile in a blink of an eye. This sword, Duan Lingtian didn't keep it anymore, and showed the 8th level of swordsmanship. The previous 2 swords only stimulated the 7th level kendo. As for the way of control and the way of infinity, he didn't intend to use it, thinking that it would be too bullying, and now he doesn't have the need to rely on those 2 methods. Using stronger swordsmanship can make this future master who is also a swordsman convinced. The 8th stage, Xue Qingzu's expression changed. She originally thought that even though Duan Lingtian had hidden a lot of strength, his swordsmanship was at most close to the 8th level of swordsmanship, but she didn't expect that Duan Lingshan's 3rd sword cut turned out to be the 8th level of swordsmanship that was completely above the 7th level. Even if it's the breeze on the side, it still looks dull at this moment. He originally thought that his disciple was going to rely on a method in the way of infinity or the way of control to suppress his favorite woman. But it never occurred to him that his disciple stepped into the 8th level, one step ahead of him. In the past, he said to the outside world that his disciple was better than Blue, and he was talking about the overall strength of his disciple. If he really wanted to talk about swordsmanship alone, he asked himself that he was still not surpassed by his disciple. Unexpectedly, his disciple walked ahead of him in the way of the sword without making a sound. This made him feel very complicated. This time, his disciple is really better than Blue in all aspects. Call out. Although Xue Qingzhu confirmed that Duan Lingtian had mastered the 8th level kendo, she was not intimidated. She still tried her best to deal with it. She also wanted to see the difference between the 8th level kendo and her 7th level kendo. The difference. Moreover, when Duan Lingtian slashed out with this sword, she also discovered and understood something from this sword, as if there was something worth learning from. Duan Lingshan's sword is driven by the law of space, cutting through the void. It is the sword of space. And Xue Qingzhu is good at the law of life. A sword rises into the sky, and the halo flows as if life is sublimating. The next moment, the sword glows of the 2 collided together. Different from the previous 2 times when they were evenly matched, this time after half of Duan Lingshan's sword light was annihilated, he forcibly wiped out Xue Qingzhu's sword, and the remaining sword light was cut out unabated. Duan Lingtian saw the doubtful look on Xue Qingzhu's pretty face. His eyes suddenly calmed down, as if he lost his mind for a moment, and his face changed suddenly. Just when he was about to make a move, he saw that his master, Feng Qingyang, had already made a move. Call out. The sword light of time cut through the void, making time and a space seem to be frozen, no longer moving forward, and the sword light of Duan Lingtian was also affected. This sword, and the rest of Duan Lingshan's sword, died together, but the aftermath of power still swept towards Xue Qingzhu. Feng Qingyang set out to protect Xue Qingzhu. This is epiphany. After the aftermath of the power dissipated, Feng Qingyang turned to look at Xue Qingzhu, only to find that Xue Qingzhu had entered a mysterious state, and after confirming that she had an epiphany, she immediately looked helpless. This girl, is she too worried about him and his disciples? This is putting their lives in the hands of the 2 of them. At this moment, before Duan Lingtian had time to see Xue Qingzhu's situation, his pupil shrank suddenly. Region? The land left by God in Nishan realm is a part of the small world in his body, and he discovered it as soon as Lei Hong himself arrived. Chapter 46-34. If it was in another place, even if he found Lei Hong at the first time, Duan Lingtian would not dare to confirm whether the other party was the deity or the avatar of the law, and he would need to check with his spiritual sense or confirm after the fight. After all, the avatar of the law of the 7th level existence of Xion has reached the point where it can be compared with the deity only by looking at the outside. However, the land left by God in the Nishan realm is a part of the small world in Duan Lingshan's body and still belongs to his small world in his body. So when Lei Hong entered his small world in his body, he not only discovered it immediately, but even it is confirmed that Lei Hong is the deity. Before he even had time to say hello to his master, Duan Lingtian disappeared in a flash, as if he had disappeared out of thin air. Because of the current situation of my master, I can't leave for the time being, and I need to protect my future teacher Xue Qingzhu. So I didn't pull my master to go with me, and I didn't dare to move Xue Qingzhu rashly, so as not to disturb her epiphany. The higher the level of cultivation, the harder it is to encounter something like epiphany. Once encountered, it can often be greatly improved. Not to mention anything else, just say that this time Xue Qingzhu faced his 8th level Kendo epiphany, and when the epiphany is over, her attainments in Kendo will probably no longer be inferior to his master as before, and it is very likely that she will equal his master, even surpass a little. Lei Hong, since you're here this time, don't leave. Duan Lingtian directly returned to the little senior sister in his body, and after a space leap, he reached the small part of the small world in his body that he assigned to serve as the land of the gods. His eyes were radiant, with killing intent. Lei Hong, in his eyes, is the #1 enemy at the moment. He must be beheaded. Otherwise, there will be no small hidden danger if he stays. Although he is not afraid of the other party, he also wants to kill the other party as soon as possible. In addition, last time, Lei Hong ruined his good deeds and hindered his search for Yun Qingyan. It can be said that he has made a big hatred with him. And when Duan Lingtian noticed that Lei Hong broke into the land of the gods, Lei Hong had already arrived near the Xia family, the land left by the gods, and made a lightning strike, intending to destroy the Xia family. Boom! Lei Hong's attack was earth-shattering. His aura was like a rainbow, and his power, like the approaching doomsday, swept the world and enveloped the Xia family's residence. Inside the Xia family mansion, a large clan guard formation rose, and a translucent mask enveloped all directions. Countless purple electric, snake-like thunders roamed around the translucent mask, exuding a good aura. This is also the defense of the Xia family. Means, who? What a powerful force. This power is suffocating. In the Xia family, all the high-level members of the Xia family, including the head of the family Xia Yu and the third master Xia Jia, were also alarmed by the sudden warning of the clan guard formation, and their faces changed. Not good dash. The only strongest person in the Xia family has been staying in the Xia family recently, and when he sensed the power sweeping and killing from outside, his expression changed instantly. At the same time, rumble. As the power from outside like a mountain torrent sweeping across the world enveloped and fell, the Xia family's seemingly incomparably strong family protection array fell to pieces in an instant, like a chicken and a dog, vulnerable to a single blow, and it also made everyone in the Xia family feel the hearts of the people. Fear. And at this moment, call out. A sword light shot up into the sky, and then divided into thousands of sword lights in midair, roaring and sweeping around, interweaving into a huge sword net, intending to stop the terrifying power falling from the sky like a torrent of heaven and earth. It's Lord Duan Lingtian. Master Duan Lingtian has made a move. The eyes of all the high-level members of the Xia family lit up, as if they saw a savior, thinking that the Xia family must be saved if that one took action. However, only the strongest member of the Xia family, Xia Hechuan, changed his expression again and again, because he has confirmed that the person who came is the existence of the 7th level Xion, and it seems that he is not a clone of the law, because the power of the opponent's shot is too powerful. Originally, he thought that as long as Duan Lingtian was around, the Xia family would be safe. It wasn't until Duan Lingtian made a move that he realized that Duan Lingtian himself should not be in the Xia family, otherwise it would be impossible to use the Law of Time clone to make a move, and the power displayed by the Law of Time clone is obviously slightly weaker than the opponent. Boom. Rumble. Soon, the palpitating force that seemed to destroy the sky and destroy the earth swept in from outside, finally landed on the sword net that soared into the sky, causing the sword net to vibrate. Its color dimmed instantly, and it was crumbling. Many sword glows that had turned into part of the sword net showed clearly visible cracks, as if they might be broken at any time. This scene also made everyone in the Xia family change their faces. How is this going? Master Duan Lingtian can't stop the other party? Master Duan Lingtian cast the Law of Time. Is this his law avatar? At this moment, Everyone guessed that the coming person must be the existence of the 7th level Xeon, and they even vaguely guessed the identity of the other party, one of the existences of Xeon's 7th order. They have also heard about the grievances between Duan Lingtian and Lei Hong, but they never think that Lei Hong dared to kill them because they are not easy to provoke, and there are 2 whole 7th level existences of Xeon. Unexpectedly, Lei Hong finally came to kill him. Moreover, he came to the door when Lord Duan Lingtian himself was not around. This Lei Hong definitely knows that Lord Duan Lingshan's deity is not there. After thinking of this, everyone couldn't help but feel fear in their hearts. If Lord Duan Lingshan's deity is not there, and Lei Hong is the one who comes, they are afraid that they will die today. Duan Lingtian, your mere law avatar can't stop me. Outside, there was a disdainful voice. Today, I, Lei Hong, will destroy your legal avatar and Xia family, and let you know what will happen if you offend me, Lei Hong. In the next moment, a more powerful force swept in from the outside, just like the second wave pushing the first wave to impact and fall. It's over. The members of the Xia family were in despair. Really, region. And at this moment, the sword net that was about to be shattered in the sky suddenly extended 2 strange auras, which made the sword net seem to be strengthened in an instant. Even if Lei Hong's second wave of offensive came, it was still failed to break the sword net. Lei Hong outside was just a little puzzled. Before he had time to investigate the situation, Lei Hong, a cold shout spread across the sky, and at the same time, Duan Lingshan's true self stepped out above the Xia family's residence, looking directly at Lei Hong with his cold eyes. How can it be? Lei Hong's face changed drastically. He never expected that Duan Lingtian would come back so quickly. He was not in a small realm some distance from here and outside the realm. The newly promoted 7th level powerhouse Xue Qingzhu? Thinking of his second wave of offensive just now, he almost tried his best, but he still couldn't shatter the power rising inside. What does this mean? It means that there is a deity of the strongest 7th order powerhouse in it. Coupled with Duan Lingtian, who came back suddenly, he couldn't help but feel his scalp tingle. At this moment, he had only one thought left. Duan Lingshan's so-called sparring with people outside is just an illusion. The real purpose is definitely to catch him. And now, the one who blocked his attack at the Xia family's residence was most likely the strong Ming Han who had been lurking in the outside world earlier in the morning. Chapter 46:35. This is the plane of the small world in your body? Duan Lingtian came back through the small world in his body. After returning, this part of the small world that was transformed into the land of the gods was merged with the small world in his body. When he appeared, he was also region noticed this. Lei Hong's face was livid, and there was a bit of regret in his eyes. Careless. Why didn't I think of this? In fact, it's not that Lei Hong couldn't think of this, but because of the details about Duan Lingtian that Lei Hong captured the most powerful person in the god-defying realm earlier, and he also mentioned some of the details about Duan Lingtian. The Dixia family, a family that has a close relationship with Duan Lingtian. According to what that person said, the land left by the gods has always existed. The reason why Lei Hong didn't take too many precautions when he entered the land of the gods this time was also because he knew that the land of the gods hadn't changed much recently, and it was still the land of the gods. Because recently, he also went to arrest some high-ranking gods who walked out of the god-defying realm to gain knowledge in places outside the world. From those high-ranking gods, he learned that the Xia family is still in the land of the gods, and Duan Lingtian is also resident in the gods. The Xia family, the place left behind, has not changed much. It was in line with everything he knew about coercing the most powerful people in the god-defying realm. Under such circumstances, how could he possibly have thought that the god-relict land that already existed in Nishan realm would suddenly be dropped by the up-and-comer Duan Lingtian? This is definitely a game he made against me. At this moment, Lei Hong cursed secretly in his heart. It's really insidious. Now, he suspects that the existence of the 7th level Xeon present, in addition to the known Duan Lingtian and his master Feng Qingyang, Ming Han from the Bibo Tianfu in the outer world is probably also there, and even the newcomer in the outer world Xeon's 7th level powerhouse, Xue Qingzhu, was also recruited by Duan Lingtian to act in 9 out of 10. The purpose of acting is self-evident. It is to lure him into the trap, let his true self come to the God-defying realm in person, and then keep him in the God-defying realm forever. Perhaps Xue Qingzhu was not just here to act, but Meng Han helped Duan Lingtian find him to deal with Lei Hong. Lei Hong, since you're here, don't leave. Duan Lingtian sneered. Even if there is only one person present, he is absolutely sure to keep Lei Hong. Lei Hong's deity has entered the small world inside his body, and if he wants to get out, it will be harder than climbing to the sky. On the other hand, Lei Hong, facing Duan Lingtian who had just walked out, his face turned blue and white for a while, and then he gritted his teeth and said, Duan Lingtian, do you think you can keep me if you set up a trick to lure me into the bait? You think too much dash. Almost at the moment when Lei Hong's voice fell, he saw something suddenly appearing in his hand. It was a dead wood with black and golden light all over its body. As soon as it appeared, it exuded a palpitating aura, which also made Duan Lingtian frowning. In this dead wood, he clearly felt the strong power of space law, even not weaker than the law of space where he is currently. Not good. Seeing that Lei Hong took out the treasure of the law of space, Duan Lingtian's eyes narrowed slightly, and then he shot like lightning, and with all his strength, he swept towards Lei Hong, intending to keep Lei Hong in the first place. However, almost at the moment Duan Lingtian left, I saw his dark dead wood glowing with black and golden light suddenly cracked in Lei Hong's hands, and then burst out suddenly, extending a terrifying space force, covering Lei Hong's whole body inside, and then Lei Hong's body it gradually became illusory inside. At this time, one can vaguely see the headache on Lei Hong's face, which shows that the black dead wood is also a very important life-saving thing for him. If he hadn't felt that he was under the siege of the 4 most powerful 7th-level powerhouses and might lose his life at any time, he wouldn't have used this whole card in his hand. At the same time, when Duan Lingtian was ready to attack, Lei Hong's figure had disappeared under the shroud of space power, and Duan Lingtian's offensive only had time to defeat the space power that sent Lei Hong away. The space law of Dzogchen contains the infinite way above the 8th level, and the power of Xian above the 8th level. One shot missed, and Lei Hong was not left behind. Duan Lingtian tried to sweep out with his divine sense, smashed the surrounding space, and searched in all directions, but still did not find any trace of Lei Hong. Obviously, he was not only sent away, but maybe he was sent directly. Against God Realm. This treasure, it is definitely left by the super strong before the historical partition. Now that it was confirmed that Lei Hong had run away, Duan Lingtian didn't chase after him anymore. His eyes fell on the dead wood fragments that turned into black star spots and gradually disappeared into the void. His consciousness extended over, and it was not difficult to sense a trace of familiar aura on it. The breath of the land of return. It can be seen that the black deadwood comes from the land of ruins, left by the strong before the historical partition. I didn't expect Lei Hong to have such a life-saving card. It is at least the 8th level of Xian, and the treasure left by the Space Dzogchen powerhouse who has mastered the way of infinity beyond the 8th level. This point, Duan Lingtian did not expect. What Duan Lingtian didn't even expect was that Lei Hong would run away immediately, but Fan Lei Hong hesitated a little bit and was a little bit reluctant to use this life-saving thing. Just now he managed to keep Lei Hong. He really didn't expect that Lei Hong would be so decisive. Isn't he the only one? Lei Hong. He probably doesn't know his true strength. It is impossible for Duan Lingtian to think of. The reason why Lei Hong used his life-saving whole card without hesitation at the moment he was about to make a move after he appeared was because he thought that there were still 3 powerful 7th-level powerhouses lurking in the dark, and he was deeply afraid that he would be attacked and besieged lethal. Lei Hong already regarded this as Duan Lingtian and the others trying to catch him. If Duan Lingtian knew this, he would definitely be extremely wronged, because not to mention the scene, even looking at the entire God-defying realm, he was the only one at the 7th level of Xian. The other side, Lei Hong, who had successfully escaped from birth, let out a long sigh of relief. The boat almost capsized in the gutter. Fortunately, I have a life-saving whole card that I got from a place where I returned to the ruins in the past. Pity. Such a life-saving means, such a chance, was used up so early. Lei Hong's heart was bleeding, but he also knew that at that time, he had no choice but to do this. Otherwise, he might die at the hands of the seventh rank of the four greatest powers due to a single thought. Duan Lingtian, one day, I will make you regret that you have offended me, Lei Hong. It caused me to lose my life-saving whole card, and the hatred between you and me is even greater. Even though Duan Lingtian not only showed the 8th level swordsmanship when he shot just now, but also showed the way of infinity and control, but because Lei Hong ran so fast that Lei Hong didn't notice it at all. Otherwise, he must now know Duan Lingshan's true strength. And if he knew Duan Lingshan's true strength, he would probably have the confidence to say this now. After Lei Hong escaped smoothly, Duan Lingtian quickly walked out of the Nishan realm and came to the place where Xue Qingzhu had an epiphany, but found that Xue Qingzhu was still enlightened there, and his master Feng Qingyang stayed aside like a patron saint. Consciousness sweeps the quartet and is vigilant around. Did something happen just now? Duan Lingshan's sudden departure was noticed by Feng Qingyang. Seeing him coming back at this time, he couldn't help but ask for a while. Duan Lingtian nodded. Lei Hong himself has entered the god-defying realm and the Xia family, the land left by the gods. Chapter 46-36. He actually went to the god-defying realm with his true self? He also went to the land of the gods? From Feng Qingyang's point of view, if Lei Hong dared to use his true self to enter the world against the gods and the land left behind by the gods, it would be tantamount to seeking his own death. You know, the land left by the gods is a part of the small world in his disciple's body, and he can return quickly through the small world in his body at any time. Lei Hong entered the land of the gods. If he used the normal channel of the teleportation array, his disciple might not be able to lock Lei Hong in the first place. However, as long as Lei Hong dares to do something, the power of the strongest 7th level, which is different from ordinary people, is enough to alarm his disciple in the first place and be locked by his disciple, and it can even be confirmed that he came this time. The avatar is still the deity. Have you left him? Regarding Duan Lingshan's strength, Feng Qingyang couldn't be more clear. It is not too difficult to keep an ordinary 7th level powerhouse like Lei Hong. Not to mention that Lei Hong went to the divine legacy, separated from the small world in Duan Lingshan's body. Place. But now, the reason why he asked this was because he felt something was wrong. Lei Hong, after all, is also a strong 7th order Xian. If his disciple Duan Lingtian kills Lei Hong, logically speaking, there will definitely be a very astonishing phenomenon of heaven and earth on the Nishan realm. The vision of heaven and earth, accompanied by the pouring rain of blood, seems to be the anger of the sky and the hatred of the people. Although his true self is here, he still has a clone of the law in the god-defying realm, and he didn't notice anything unusual. Let him run away. Duan Lingtian shook his head, because his expression was so indifferent that his master Feng Qingyang couldn't see his mood, and he couldn't confirm whether Lei Hong was left behind by him. In Feng Qingyang's view, even if Lei Hong has not been killed, it is a good thing as long as Lei Hong is kept. After all, that is Lei Hong's real deity. Ran? However, what Ling Feng Qingyang never expected was that Lei Hong ran away. How is this possible? Then Lei Hong, is it possible that there are other tricks to suppress the bottom of the box? This was the first thought that came to his mind, and he asked aloud at the same time, because he always felt that this matter was not that simple. Under normal circumstances, with the strength of his disciple Duan Lingtian, he would definitely be able to handle the who broke into the god-defying realm. Region of the land of the land. Duan Lingtian nodded, and then told the details of Lei Hong's escape one by one. For Lei Hong's decisive escape, he is still a little puzzled. Then Lei Hong is a little too timid, isn't he? He actually has the life-saving means left by the Xian 8th level powerhouse before the historical partition. Feng Qingyang sucked in a breath of air conditioning, and never thought that Lei Hong escaped with the help of the life-saving means left by the super-strong before the historical partition. It is also necessary to pay a considerable price to condense it in the special deadwood. With Lei Hong's means, even if I was there at the time, I'm afraid I can only watch him flee. Feng Qingyang sighed, and his words were quite regrettable, he was only a little bit close to leaving Lei Hong behind, so as to avoid future troubles. But he didn't expect Lei Hong to have such life-saving means. This time he is lucky, next time, he will not be so lucky. A cold light flashed in Duan Lingshan's eyes, with a murderous intent. I don't believe he can use such a life-saving method a second time. Before Lei Hong escaped, when he used the life-saving means, although he didn't show it on his face, there was a clear look of reluctance and determination in the depths of his eyes, and 9 out of 10 he didn't have the second piece of life-saving deadwood in his hands. And that thing is unusual, and it's normal not to have a second piece. He who inherited the memory of the old man Wukong knows very well how difficult it is to forge such a life-saving deadwood. At least he has to carry it with him for more than 10,000 years, and he can only breed one piece of life-saving wood at a time. Such things are usually used to save the lives of their closest descendants. Feng Qingyang smiled wryly. Let him escape this time. Next time he might not dare to go against the God realm easily. Duan Lingtian naturally knew this. However, he didn't care. That Lei Hong has stepped into the 7th level of Xian anyway. He really doesn't believe that Lei Hong can never shrink back. In other words, if Lei Hong really can't shrink back, even if there is no chance of killing Lei Hong in the future, he will admit it. Master, if the next person succeeds in enlightenment, his strength may not be inferior to yours. Duan Lingtian came back to his senses, looked at Xue Qingzhu who was not far away, changed the subject and said with a smile, when she wakes up from the epiphany and fulfills her bet to go to your place as a guest, don't waste your time and take her down as soon as possible, lest you have long nights and dreams. If she can't be my teacher's wife, I will be a big loser if I help her realize this. Hearing Duan Lingshan's words, Feng Qingyang glared at him angrily. Turn around and wait for fellow Taoist Xue's epiphany to come to an end, and you will also compete with me to demonstrate the 8th level sword art. You have hidden it so deeply that even I don't know that your sword art has gone further. That is, it has only recently broken through. Duan Lingtian laughed. After walking here for a while, seeing that Xue Qingzhu had no intention of waking up, Duan Lingtian didn't stay here any longer, as long as he had his master here. It happened that after Xue Qingzhu woke up, he found that his master was his guardian, and he was moved again. What Duan Lingtian didn't expect was that, on the 3rd day after he went back, another heavenly word appeared again. This time, the appearance of the heavenly Tao text was not to announce to the quartet that someone had broken through to the 7th level of Xian. It's an upgrade announcement about the function of the Babel Tower. From now on the side of all the entrances of the Tongtian Tower, there will be a second purple thunder winding exit, for those who have stepped into the strongest realm to enter and passed the checkpoint tests set by the Tongtian Tower in it, and they can gain insight into history, the law left by the Master, and the opportunity of the 4 ways of heaven and earth, in which practice can get twice the result with half the effort. All the most powerful people will appear in the exclusive independent space when they are transferred into it. The strength and soul realm in the body will also be limited to the realm of the upper gods, which will help to comprehend various laws, and will recover on their own after leaving the Tongtian Tower. Duan Lingtian couldn't help frowning after reading the heavenly Tao text. What's the situation? According to the meaning of the words of Tian Dao, is it intended to help a group of powerful people and saints quickly increase their strength? If it is said that the appearance of the heavenly Tao talisman in the past, he thought it was aimed at him and his master Feng Qingyang. Well, now that the new function of the Tongtian Tower has appeared, he feels that it is not only aimed at those who have just stepped into the 7th level of Xian, but also at the stronger half-step world venerable among the Xians. Half-holy, Jezun, saint, even targeting most Xians. Today's semi-saints and saints were basically invincible high-ranking gods among the high-ranking gods in the past. Why are you so reluctant to step into Xian? Isn't it because after stepping into Xian, the difficulty of comprehending the law will increase a lot? Therefore, more people feel that it is the wisest decision to comprehend the law of Dzogchen in the realm of high gods, and then step into the realm of power. But now, the appearance of these heavenly characters in front of us undoubtedly subverted the past cognition. In the future, the upper gods can step into the Xian realm at any time, and there is no need to consider the difficulty of comprehending the law will increase, because they have the Tiantian Tower to support them, They only need to enter the Tongtian Tower to retreat. And there are the laws left by the strong before the historical partition and the four ways of heaven and earth for viewing. Chapter 46:37. Now, it was not just Duan Lingtian who saw the heavenly words appearing at the end of the cracked sky. Even other people in 10,000 realms and even places outside the realm have seen it. For a time, the expressions on the faces of many half-step realm masters and realm masters from the 10,000 realms, as well as the half-saints and saints in the land outside the realm, became a little unsightly. Are you kidding me? In the past, when they were still high-ranking gods, the call to the supreme realm came many times. Because the laws had not yet understood the realm of Dzogchen, they were worried that it would be difficult to see the law of Dzogchen after they stepped into the supreme realm, so they could only forcefully stay in the upper realm. In the realm of gods, only after you have become the invincible high-ranking god and the call of the most powerful realm comes again, will you be willing to take advantage of the situation and step into it to become the most powerful. During that period, even if they knew that if they immediately stepped into the strongest position, they would be stronger than the average strongest person at the bottom, they still were not in a hurry to step into the strongest position. He is even willing to work under ordinary powerful people and grovel. Only they themselves know the hardship and bitterness involved. However, after later stepping into the strongest level with the invincible strength of the superior god, and achieving the 5th and 6th levels of the strongest, they felt that everything in the past was worth it. Otherwise, if they had stepped into the strongest level earlier, strong, it is absolutely impossible to enter the 5th or 6th level at this moment. And now, the Tiandao text has been published to all directions, revealing the new function of the Tower of Babel, which actually allows the most powerful person who enters it to suppress their power and soul realm to the upper-level realm, and can pass the level test inside, observe and understand the corresponding laws left by the strong before the historical separation, the four paths of heaven and earth. This is tantamount to giving all the strongest a pair of wings to take off. It's like cheating on them. Although they are also vested interests, and now they can enjoy this benefit by entering through the new entrance of Babel Tower, they still feel unwilling to do so when they think of their hard work in the past. They feel that the law of heaven is unfair, and this time they deliberately target them. They are the most powerful 5th level and 6th level beings. Before today, I never dreamed that what happened to Duan Lingtian and Feng Qingyang in the past would happen to people like us. God is unfair. It's really unfair. However, I can't compare with those two adults. After all, we are also profitable this time. With the new functions of the Babel Tower, I will hopefully go one step further and become a realm master, and even sprint to the extreme power the 7th level, obtains the unparalleled honor of being announced separately by Tiandao characters. Among the strong men before the historical separation, there are many who are at the 7th level and above, and there are even super strong men of the 8th and 9th levels. In other words, this new entrance to the Tower of Babel will be a step ahead for those few, for those who have entered the 7th level of the most powerful. It is also an opportunity to quickly improve themselves. In the land of 10,000 realms and beyond, a group of strong men of the 5th and 6th levels showed their unwillingness to give up. When they complained to their friends, they kept sighing. This day, things have really changed. In the future, when the superior gods break through to the most powerful realm, they no longer need to worry about anything. They can just break through and it's done. As long as the Babel Tower is here, not only will it not be more difficult to comprehend the laws in the future, but it will also be easier than before. Yes, this is to urge the superior to step into the most powerful realm. In the past, high-level gods would not easily step into the most powerful realm unless their potential was exhausted and a 1,000-year catastrophe was at stake. But from today on, all high-level gods who sense the call of the most powerful realm will no longer need to be promoted anymore. It is conceivable that from today on, whether it is our world or the places outside the world, a large number of powerful people will be born. And this is indeed the case. A group of high-ranking gods in the 10,000 realms and beyond the world, who have not yet sensed the call of the Supreme Realm, all think that as soon as the call of the Supreme Realm appears later, they will respond as soon as possible and step into the Supreme Realm, because only in this way can they enter the second entrance to the Tower of Babel. The Tower of Babel serves the most powerful and does not accept high-ranking gods. Damn, why didn't this heavenly text appear a few days in advance? I just rejected the call to the strongest realm 2 days ago. Damn it. It won't be that simple to step into the strongest realm next. I regret it. Are you kidding me? I just refused the call to the strongest realm half a month ago. Many high-level deities with good talents, who had just rejected the call of the most powerful realm some time ago, all regretted it after carefully studying the meaning expressed in the words of heaven. They got so angry that they started to curse, and they kept swearing, the way of thieves and the ways of dogs. And those high-ranking gods who have not yet sensed the call of the most powerful realm are eagerly waiting for the arrival of their own call to the most powerful realm. Senior brother, I heard you say that you refused the exchange of the strongest realm 3 years ago. Next, I may enter the strongest realm before you. If I gain something from entering the Babel Tower, I will definitely give it to you after I come out. You share. In another plane of gods in the inverse god realm, an elder from a top giant-level sect said playfully to the senior brother next to him. In exchange, it was a scolding from the other party. Roll? He was already in a bad mood, and his junior brother came to add fuel to the fire. Didn't this make him even more uncomfortable? Senior brother, if you dare to talk anymore, believe it or not, I will beat you up. Don't forget, you are not the strongest yet. Similar scenes were staged all over the world and beyond. Some people were happy, while others were yelling. As for those ordinary and powerful people, they are now seeing the words of heavenly Tao. After carefully studying the profound meaning, as long as they have nothing urgent to do, they will rush to the direction of the entrance of Babel Tower as soon as possible. The entrance of Babel Tower in the past, it's no secret for a long time, but the current second entrance is right next to the original entrance. What the Tiandao text says is the entrance entwined with purple thunder. Someone arrived near the original entrance of the Tower of Babel and found that there was another entrance on the scene. It was a black vortex wrapped with purple thunder. The original pure black vortex formed a sharp contrast. No one with a clear mind would notice it. Might be wrong. Moreover, even if someone makes the wrong choice, they will not be able to enter the original entrance of the Tower of Babel, because the threshold of that entrance is the 6th level of the strongest. Suppress your cultivation to reach the realm of high-level gods, pass the level test, and get the opportunity to observe and understand the laws left by the strong before the historical separation and the 4 paths of heaven and earth. Feng Qingyang, who was protecting the Dharma beside Xue Qingzhu, showed some yearning in his eyes after reading the announcement of the Tiandao text. He knew that this was not only an opportunity for those high-level gods and ordinary powerful people to become stronger, but also an opportunity for powerful 7th-level beings like him to become stronger. Chapter 46:38. However, longing for longing, Feng Qingyang quickly retracted his thoughts, and his eyes fell on Qianing not far away. Incomsitis updated chapters are the most complete and comprehensive, and error-free content is repaired in the most timely manner. Due to caching reasons, browser access is recommended. Incom official website. At least, he couldn't walk away until the woman in front of him who was still immersed in enlightenment woke up. He couldn't just ignore her, right? I really admire Xiaotian. I don't know how these ladies managed to take care of both. Feng Qingyang felt a sigh in his heart when he thought that his disciple had several wives. In the past, he thought that women were a stumbling block for men on their way to cultivation, but now his disciple Duan Lingtian, who is more talented than others, has given him a good education. Class. Moreover, his disciple also said something to him. Men and women are matched, so work is not tiring. Perhaps, this is why Xiaotian can take a step ahead of me in swordsmanship so quickly and reach the 8th level? Thinking of this, Feng Qingyang's eyes fell on Xue Qingzhu again, with a little more expectation and yearning. This was the first woman he had been attracted to in his life. No matter what the result was, he would give it a try. Otherwise, I am afraid that I will have regrets for the rest of my life. Although the main body was guarding Xue Qingzhu, Feng Qingyang's law clone was not idle and immediately arrived at the entrance to the only Tongtian Tower in the Nishan realm. The entrance to the Tower of Babel is not on any of the planes of the gods, but is located on the plane of the heavens, the Jade Emperor. When Feng Qingyang's law clone arrived, a lot of people had already gathered here, and some people just flew into the new cave entrance surrounded by purple thunder not far from the pitch-black cave entrance. This new cave entrance is the portal that the Tower of Babel opens to beings above the Supreme Realm. Lord Feng Qingyang. I've met Master Feng Qingyang. A group of powerful people present saw the arrival of Feng Qingyang's law clone. Naturally, they couldn't tell whether it was the original body or the clone, and they all saluted respectfully. They were all present when Feng Qingyang and Duan Lingtian gave a sermon in the past, and they recognized Feng Qingyang at a glance. "Hello, everyone." Feng Qingyang smiled slightly and then asked, "Have you tried whether the law clone can enter the new entrance of Babel Tower?" Facing Feng Qingyang's inquiry, a seemingly old and powerful person immediately answered him. "Lord Feng Qingyang, many people have tried just now, but the clone of the law cannot enter the Tower of Babel. Of course, the strongest person to try is he Realm Master, who is at the half-step Realm Master realm. There are many world leaders in the Nishan realm, which were decided many years ago, including the rising star Xiao Mubai. At that time, Xiao Mubai had just entered the half-step World Master realm, which was the 5th level of the most powerful. After Feng Qingyang and Duan Lingtian broke through one after another and became the most powerful 7th-level beings, Xiao Mubai and other god-defying Realm Masters also proposed to let them too become Realm Masters, and they, the original Realm Masters, were demoted to Vice Realm Lord. They all think this arrangement is appropriate. However, both Duan Lingtian and Feng Qingyang have a laid-back temperament and have no interest in becoming the master of the God-Reverse realm. Although even if they become the Realm Master of the Nishan realm, they do not have to be busy with the Nishan realm, but it is not the style of Duan Lingtian and Feng Qingyang to do nothing in their positions, so they refused. He Realm Master. Not long after the law clone left, his true self has already entered. The most powerful man said again, "Master." But at this moment, a voice came. Feng Qingyang took a look and found that his disciple Duan Lingtian had arrived. At first glance, he was not sure whether it was the clone of the law or the original deity. Lord Duan Lingtian. Lord Duan Lingtian. Duan Lingtian appeared, and everyone present saluted respectfully, even more respectfully than when they faced Feng Qingyang before. The main reason is that Duan Lingtian preached to them in the past, not only on the way of swordsmanship, but also on the way of infinity and control, which benefited them a lot and made them feel grateful to each other from the bottom of their hearts. However, although they knew that Duan Lingtian was also good at those two arts, they subconsciously did not feel that Duan Lingtian had strong attainments in those two arts. After all, Duan Lingtian was too young to have 3rd-level and 4th-level talents in those two arts. The achievement is already quite good. Even the most powerful man who was abducted by Lei Hong in the past, although he was present when Duan Lingtian preached, but because he was not good at the way of infinity and control, he happened to be on the way of swordsmanship, so that later when Duan Lingtian talked about the other two paths, he didn't listen at all and was still digesting the contents of the sword path that Duan Lingtian talked about before. Because of this, Lei Hong found out the details of Duan Lingtian from his mouth, not including that Duan Lingtian was also good at the way of control and the way of infinity, and did not know Duan Lingshan's true strength. Otherwise, he might not have dared to break into the god-defying realm so easily not long ago. After Duan Lingtian smiled and nodded at everyone, he looked at his master again and asked with a smile, "Master, do you want to try to use the law to clone into the new entrance of Babel Tower?" "Want to try it?" Feng Qingyang said. "If you can't get in, I tried before." Duan Lingtian shook his head and said, "The first time I saw the text of Tiandao, my law clone came here and even rushed in front of Xiao Jieju and Zhang Shan, but was unable to enter. I think it was either the Babel Tower's attack on the law. The clone has limitations, or there is no way to accommodate the clone of the law. I think it's the latter. No matter how realistic the clone of the law is, it is not a real flesh and blood body. Moreover, if the law clone enters it, it can only understand the corresponding law. However, the 4 paths of heaven and earth, and the law clones cannot be understood alone. The law clone can use the 4 paths of heaven and earth that the original master has understood, but it cannot comprehend the 4 paths of heaven and earth alone. Duan Lingtian has known this for a long time. Even if the clone of the law can understand the law, the efficiency of understanding it is far less than that of the original deity, not even 1/10 of the efficiency of the original deity. The meaning of the existence of the law clone lies more in combat. Then you are coming here now, ready to go in? Feng Qingyang suddenly realized. It turned out that his disciple had the law clone come over immediately, even earlier than he did. Yes. Duan Lingtian nodded. Get ready to go in and take a look. Then, when Feng Qingyang's law clone frowned, he sent a message at the right time and said, Master, I know you are a little worried. Could this be a set made by heaven against the two of us, and you want to target them inside? Us. But I think it's almost impossible. If heaven can really kill us, why bother with so much effort? If you really want to set a trap, can't you just set one at random? As for the bait, Master, you are alone, but I am not alone. Moreover, the emergence of the new function of Babel Tower this time is more like the intention of heaven to increase the number of the most powerful people in the world and outside the world, and to help all the most powerful people, including us, improve their strength. Chapter 46:39. Duan Lingtian, if not for some careful consideration, it would not have been possible for me to come in person. He first used the Law of Time clone to come over to see the situation. After confirming that the Law clone could not enter, he thought about it for a while and felt that there was basically no problem. He decided to enter the Babel Tower to explore the way of heaven for the most powerful people like them, a prepared place for experience and cultivation. Master, after you and I stepped into the 7th level with our own efforts, the way of heaven came to the Babel Tower to help other 6th level beings break their shackles and give them the opportunity to step into the 7th level, and many people did step into the 7th level after that. There are not many people in the 7th level right now. It's entirely because the Babel Tower has only arrived in a short period of time. After thousands or tens of thousands of years, more powerful 7th level people will appear. When the message came to this point, Duan Lingtian paused and continued. At that time, you and I subconsciously felt that this was the way of heaven targeting us. In fact, even other outsiders are also suspicious. Before the new functions of the Tower of Babel appear this time, I still have doubts. Now, this suspicion has faded a lot. According to the memory of old man Wukong he inherited, before the separation of history, there were some tests that were suspected to be sent by heaven, which required entering an independent space. Old man Wukong himself had gone in before, and came out safely and unscathed every time. The reason why it is said to be suspected is because old man Wukong is not sure that it is a test sent by heaven, but he does not think that anyone can leave such a test, even he who once stepped into the 9th level of the strongest, and there is no way to set up such unpredictable tests. As for what old man Wukong believed in his memory, the reason why heaven chose to annihilate the world and return the world to chaos was because he was afraid of the existence of a powerful 9th level person like him, fearing that he would override heaven. So we must kill him. After thinking about this matter several times, Duan Lingtian felt that it was untenable. If you really want to kill old man Wukong, even if Tiandao can't do it himself, you can still create various dangerous situations to trap old man Wukong. Even if you only need to show the heavenly words and offer a reward for old man Wukong. As long as the reward given is generous enough, many strong people will be willing to take action against old man Wukong. Before the separation of history, in the memory of old man Wukong, he had never seen the Tiandao characters. At this point, Duan Lingtian was actually a little puzzled. He couldn't figure out why the heaven never sent down the heavenly words in the period of history where old man Wukong existed before the separation of history. Even if it is a test that is suspected to be set by heaven and comes with generous rewards, it is discovered first and then spread artificially. I'm afraid there are some secrets that we can't guess. Just like in the memory of old man Wukong, in the world before the historical separation, there were no 9 entrances to mysterious places that are present in many realms of the world today. If so, where did the powerful monster with the 8th level or above of power come from? Did it appear after the historical separation? If it appeared after the historical separation and the Tiandao text was announced, why did it say that, Master, you are the first 7th level strongest existence after the historical separation? 9 entrances to mysterious places, corresponding to 9 monsters of the 8th level and above. What is the space where they are located? You don't need to guess the power that prevents them from entering the human world. It must be the means of heaven. Master Feng Qingyang knew that he had inherited the memory of Old Man Wukong, a super strong man before the historical separation, so he began to analyze it with his master while transmitting the message. Even for a moment, he once speculated that the reason why heaven lowered the Babel Tower and activated 2 of its major functions in succession was also related to the mysterious place that the 9 entrances lead to. Tiandao now obviously intends to improve the strength of all the strongest people in this world. But in the past, not only did it not do this, it even set up heavy restrictions to suppress the most powerful people and prevent them from entering the 7th level. Until, in this world after the separation of history, he and his master, 2 strongest 7th level beings who broke the shackles, appeared. The way of heaven, like a fickle woman, no longer suppressed the strongest like in the past. First, it gave the most powerful the opportunity to step into the 7th level, and now it gives all the most powerful the opportunity to improve their strength. In fact, he is still inducing the superior gods to enter the most powerful realm as soon as possible. Tiandao, why do you do this? Feng Qingyang couldn't figure it out either. Master, do you think this is the case? Duan Lingtian expressed his personal speculation. Because you and I have stepped into the 7th level of the strongest one after another, it may have affected this world, making it impossible for heaven to borrow power from this world to block the 9 mysterious entrances as in the past. The terrifying creatures behind, and other powerful beings in the space where the terrifying creatures are. As for the way of heaven in the past, to a certain extent, it restricted the emergence of the most powerful people, and did not allow the most powerful 6th level people to go further and step into the 7th level. Is it because Tiandao is afraid that they will affect it and leverage this world? Now, can it be understood as, since you and I stepped into the 7th level one after another, the way of heaven can no longer borrow as much power as before, so that it is a bit overwhelming? So, it just breaks the jar and lets us deal with the terrifying creatures behind the 9 mysterious entrances? This is Duan Lingshan's own imagination, borrowed from the so-called power of realm from all walks of life. The power of the realm can be controlled by the realm masters of all realms, but it can only be used to stabilize the space barriers around the realm. In addition to consuming it in this area, it can also control the power of the realm to absorb small objects. The power of the realm's realm strengthens the realm itself. It cannot be used against the enemy. After hearing Duan Lingshan's guess, Feng Qingyang's pupils shrank, and she suddenly felt enlightened, feeling that her disciple's guess was probably true. Maybe that's true. When Feng Qingyang transmitted the message again, his tone was full of shock, and he said with fear, "If this is really the case, wouldn't this world be dangerous? If the terrifying creatures behind the 9 mysterious entrances are really allowed to enter this world, heaven and earth, not just all realms, even the places outside the realm will not be spared. At that time, this world may usher in a doomsday disaster. The terrifying creatures that guard the 9 mysterious entrances have the power of the 8th level. Feng Qingyang does not believe that there is no stronger being behind them. Seeing that his master was becoming serious, Duan Lingtian couldn't help but feel a little embarrassed. Master, this is just my wishful thinking at the moment. Maybe the truth of the matter is not like this? Chapter 4640. Although it's just your guess, it sounds reasonable to me. Feng Qingyang's voice transmission continued. As for what you said before, the old man Wukong before the historical separation has never seen the Tiandao characters appear. It should be that era when Tiandao felt that there was no need for him to appear in any form. And in this era, the reason why the way of heaven appears is probably because he suppressed us too hard in the past. Having said this, he paused for a moment, his eyes shining brightly, like divine light. I guess that before the separation of history, the reason why heaven wanted to destroy the world and return the world to chaos was precisely because there was an enemy invasion. Tiandao should have felt that the strength of the group of people before the historical separation was not enough to resist the invading enemies, so he simply killed them all and allowed the power of this world to belong to him. thus consolidating the space of this world. Barrier to resist foreign enemies. The foreign enemy is the powerful life behind those mysterious entrances. When Chuanin said this, Feng Qingyang's tone became a little high-spirited, as if a light flashed in his mind. That's right. In this way, it can also explain why the memory of old man Wukong that you inherited does not have the existence of those mysterious entrances, because in the era when they were alive, foreign enemies had not invaded from outside this world. When foreign enemies invaded, because heaven felt that they were not strong enough to defend this world, they simply launched a plan to destroy the world. Chaos reopened, and those of us who were separated from history appeared. In order to prevent the most powerful people from occupying the power of this world, heaven put many restrictions on the rules so that the most powerful people would not appear too many, or even exceed the limit. The stronger, the less powerful. No one is allowed to appear even if they are the strongest 7th level or above. Until you and I, two odd numbers, appeared and broke Tiando's original plan. This time, for some unknown reason, Tiandao did not intend to continue to launch the apocalyptic plan. Instead, he did the opposite and took the initiative to help us improve our strength and give birth to the strongest. It must be just as you guessed. He wanted us to resist foreign enemy. Feng Qingyang made some guesses and became excited as she talked. The more she talked, the more she felt that her guess was accurate. After hearing his master's guess, Duan Lingtian couldn't help but twitch the corner of his mouth. He didn't expect that based on his guess, his master could also make so many extensions, and all aspects of the analysis were reasonable. Can't find anything wrong. Is it possible that this is really the case? At this moment, Duan Lingtian couldn't help but agree with his master's guess. So, Shao Tian, you were right. Tiandao, I should not be targeting you and me from the beginning to the end. It's just that the appearance of you and me has prevented it from resisting foreign enemies as easily as in the past. We broke the balance, so it simply launched the prosperity plan that is different from the doomsday plan. Duan Lingtian was speechless after hearing his master's words. The plan for a prosperous age came out of his master's mouth. Simply outrageous. Don't say it. Don't say it yet. Don't say it yet. It sounds reasonable. Master, they'll go in first to explore the way and see what's going on inside. When the future master wakes up from her epiphany, you can wait for me to come out and then go in. Although I guess that the way of heaven will not target you and me, it is still necessary to be steady. You wait until I come out and then let me go in. When Duan Lingtian said this, he changed his subject and said, Master, you must win that one. I already regard her as the future master's wife. If our guess is correct, I am afraid that many powerful beings above the 7th level will be born in this world in the future. As the first batch of powerful men above the 7th level, it is beneficial but not harmful to us to have more people around us. I heard from Master Shao that the future master's wife is in a place outside the realm, but she has 12 sworn brothers and sisters, as well as 2 saints, and the rest are semi-saints. If you take her down, it will be equivalent to taking over the 13 cities of the Western Jin dynasty, a huge force in the outside world. Feng Qingyang was still guessing and thinking, but she didn't expect that her disciple suddenly changed the topic and brought the topic to Xue Qingzhu, and she couldn't help being stunned for a moment. After being embarrassed for a moment, he came back to his senses and glared at Duan Lingtian angrily. You kid, you're getting older and younger, and you've started teasing your master and me? My admiration for fellow Taoist Xue is from the bottom of my heart, not driven by profit. Even if she and I get together in the future, it has nothing to do with interests. Hearing this, Duan Lingtian said yes repeatedly, then said hello again, and was about to enter the new entrance of Babel Tower to check out the situation. During the time when he was communicating with his master via voice transmission, many more powerful people from the god-defying realm entered inside. Just after saying hello to his master and watching the opponent's law clone leave, Duan Lingtian saw a familiar figure coming from a distance before he could go in. He couldn't help but pause for a moment, waiting for the person to come from far away. Fengshu Yufeng came here. The person who came was a woman, wearing a gorgeous long dress with a graceful figure, a colorful belt tied around her waist, long hair like a waterfall, a delicate face, and an aloof temperament. It was Duan Lingshan's senior sister in the inner palace of Wanfa Academy, Huangfu Mingyuan. Sister, are you also planning to enter the Tower of Babel? Duan Lingtian asked with a smile. Seeing Duan Lingtian, Huangfu Mingyuan's cold and pretty face suddenly revealed a smile, like an ice lotus blooming, full of beauty, eye-catching. Junior brother, come here. Are you ready to go in? Huangfu Mingyuan asked. Right. Duan Lingtian nodded. Get ready to go in and take a look. The two chatted and exchanged some greetings. Duan Lingtian learned that of the other two senior brothers and the fourth senior sister, only the fourth senior sister remained in the inner palace to practice and take charge. The other two senior brothers had gone to the outside world to practice, to find a way for the call of the greatest realm to return, for they had rejected it once in the past. After being rejected once, it will not be that simple if you want to step into the strongest position again. Soon, Duan Lingtian watched his senior sister Huangfu Mingyuan enter the Babel Tower, and then followed her in. When he entered, there was almost no one outside. The most powerful people who wanted to enter the Tower of Babel all went in. As for those who haven't entered yet, they either have no plans to come yet or are on their way there. After entering, will your strength and soul realm be suppressed? With this curiosity, Duan Lingtian swayed and entered another purple, thunder-wrapped entrance near the original entrance of Babel Tower, and disappeared into it in a blink of an eye. Chapter 46-41. Stepping into the entrance of the Babel Tower surrounded by purple thunder, Duan Lingtian felt a huge suction force sweeping through him in just a moment. His eyes went dark and then lighted up, and he found that he had come to a vast white space, and all the eyes could see. It's white fog, making it impossible to see through everything around me. His subconscious consciousness unfolded. It was at this moment that Duan Lingtian took a deep breath secretly, and a trace of sincere fear flashed in his eyes. He discovered that the soul realm corresponding to his spiritual consciousness had actually fallen to the upper-level realm. Speaking of which, he had become the most powerful person not long ago, and he was still very familiar with the spiritual consciousness of the upper-level realm. My power. At the same time, Duan Lingtian sensed the power in his body and discovered that his power was no longer the seventh level of supreme divine power, but only the power of a superior god. At this moment, he seemed to have transformed back into the superior he had been in the past. However, within this vast space of white mist, he could still communicate the laws of space of the great perfection, the laws of time, the laws of life, and even other laws of the small perfection realm with a single movement of his mind, even the attainments of swordsmanship. Still there, not half a point cut, just like what was described in the Tiandao text when it was previously announced. Without me being aware of it, heaven's method of suppressing my soul realm and strength is really unpredictable. At this moment, Duan Lingtian deeply realized how terrifying the way of heaven is. I am afraid that it is not just what the old man Wukong in front of the historical partition thought. Going one step further on the basis of the 9th level of the strongest is enough to be on par with the way of heaven, let alone it is to overwhelm the way of heaven and no longer be restricted by the way of heaven. He inherited the complete memory of old man Wukong, and naturally knew that although old man Wukong knew the existence of the Tao of heaven, his knowledge of the Tao of heaven was limited. The reason why he felt that those with powers above the 9th level could be on par with the Tao of heaven, because of the apocalyptic disaster before the separation of history. In that disaster, even the strongest 9th level warriors like old man Wukong had difficulty escaping. They could only leave a trace of their souls behind and hide in the land of return to ruins. Only then could they successfully transfer their soul's memories, and one's own inheritance are passed on. Even before he got the memory of old man Wukong, the remnant soul of old man Wukong was already crumbling in the long river of time, just like the light of a lamp that is about to run out of oil and may be annihilated at any time. The way of heaven is definitely not as simple as the old man Wukong thought. While Duan Lingtian was still thinking, an indifferent voice without any emotion came from his ear. Those who enter this place for the first time, within a quarter of an hour, tell me a law and a kind of 4 ways of heaven and earth that you want to observe. The level you are about to pass will also be related to that kind of law, and which kind of four ways of heaven and earth. Related. When you reach the end of a level, whether you are unable to continue or you don't want to go any further, you can say stop trying in advance and the level will disappear by then. The number of levels you pass determines the quantity and quality of the rules left by the strong before the historical separation in the four realms of heaven and earth that you can observe. When you come in next time, you can directly enjoy the treatment you got from previous levels. If you want to continue to pass the next level, just say continue to pass. If you want to change the laws and the four ways of heaven and earth, you need to go through the level again. No need to guess. Duan Ling Tian can also imagine that this voice must be caused by Tian Dao. Everyone who walks into the new entrance of the Babel Tower and enters their own exclusive experience and trial space will definitely be able to hear the rules describing the new functions of the Babel Tower. The sound of. Not much introduction, concise and easy to understand. Soon, Duan Lingtian spoke loudly. The law of time, the way of devouring. As for the law of space, he has entered the realm of great perfection and does not need to be improved. But for the law of time, after he stepped into the realm of the strongest, he found that it was indeed much more difficult to comprehend than before, even more than 10 times more difficult. It's no wonder that so many people are unwilling to step into the realm of the most powerful before the law reaches perfection. It's really difficult. But now, Tiandao has opened a new function of the Tower of Babel, allowing him to rely on the realm of the superior God to understand the law of time, which is undoubtedly a great good thing for him. Among the laws he masters, the one he is best at is undoubtedly the law of space, followed by the law of time, and then the law of life. Therefore, this time he chose the law of time first. As for the four paths of heaven and earth, he had just broken through in the way of swordsmanship, and he had not fully understood the way of swordsmanship in Old Man Wukong's memory, so he was not in a hurry. As for the way of infinity and the way of control, Old Man Wukong also has it in his memory, and his attainments are not low. Only the way of swallowing among the four paths of heaven and earth has no relevant insights in Old Man Wukong's memory. It's not that Old Man Wukong lacks understanding, but that he has already studied 3 of the 4 paths of heaven and earth and is unable to distract himself from comprehending the third one. 4 kinds. Now, Duan Lingtian chooses the way of devouring, mainly because he is curious about it, because he has not really dabbled in this way in the past. The breakthrough begins. As Duan Lingtian finished speaking, the previous indifferent voice sounded again. Then, a phantom formed in the void in front. It was a human-shaped phantom whose appearance could not be seen clearly. As soon as it appeared, it pushed towards Duan Lingtian with a palm. The momentum was fierce. Wherever the palm passed, the shadow of the palm seemed to teleport. Of course, this is not the teleportation secret of the space law. It was the law of time that gave Duan Lingtian this illusion. The strength of this phantom is also at the level of a high-level god, but the time law it uses is far inferior to what Duan Lingtian has mastered. As for the way of devouring, the devouring power that extends from it envelopes Duan Lingtian's body without causing any disturbance. Ripples. Duan Lingtian knew very well that this was because this was only the first level. The first level is naturally relatively simple. He pointed out casually, and the sword light roared, turning into hundreds of tiny sword lights in the blink of an eye, penetrating into the shadow's body, not only stopping his offensive, but even strangling it. The second level begins. When Duan Lingtian passed the first level, the second level also came as promised. It was a little more difficult, but to Duan Lingtian it was still just a sword. Then comes the third level, the fourth level. When Duan Lingtian himself entered the Babel Tower to pass the level, not only the Nishan realm, but also the most powerful people from other realms and places outside the world, more than 70%, entered the Bangtian Tower to pass the level, intending to quickly improve in it. Strength will soar to the next level as soon as possible. Those guys, why haven't they come out yet? Among the most powerful forces in the 10,000 realms and beyond the world, those who stayed behind could not help but complain after waiting for a while, but not waiting for their fellow sects who had entered the Babel Tower. They also want to enter the Tower of Babel. The strength of a group of powerful people in the 10,000 worlds and beyond the world has generally begun to improve with the opening of the new functions of the Tower of Babel. And those high-ranking gods who had previously rejected the call of the Supreme Realm, such as Duan Lingshan's second and third senior brothers in the Wanfa Academy, are now anxiously looking for a way to enter the Supreme Realm. They also want to achieve the supreme power as soon as possible. Enter the Tower of Babel to increase your strength. It doesn't matter if the senior sister is stronger than them. The junior brother's strength made them despair, but at the same time, he kept spurring them on. Chapter 46-42. Time flies like a white horse passing by, and in the blink of an eye it is more than 1,000 years later. During these more than 1,000 years, Duan Lingtian also gained a certain understanding of the devouring path in the Babel Tower. Of course, it was definitely not as good as his attainments in the way of control and the way of infinity. After all, those two kinds of heaven and earth and four ways can be passed through. Digest the memory of the old man without empty space. Over the millennium, his strength has also improved significantly. In terms of cultivation, he has also stepped from the 7th level of the most powerful to the 8th level of the most powerful. This, in fact, was a natural thing when he mastered the swordsmanship to the 8th level. He only needed to settle down and break through naturally. For example, from the 6th level of the most powerful to the 7th level of the most powerful, in addition to mastering the laws of the realm of great perfection, one must also understand a certain 4 realms of heaven and earth to the 7th level. Only then can one lead to the forbidden realm of heaven. After successfully overcoming the tribulation, he successfully broke through. Unlike the 6th level to the 7th level, which requires overcoming tribulations, the 7th level to the 8th level, as long as the realm of the 4 realms of heaven and earth is reached, the breakthrough will be a matter of course. Certainly. To this day, there are only 2 people who know that Duan Lingtian has achieved a breakthrough: his master Feng Qingyang and his master's wife Xue Qingzhu. 300 years ago, his master and Xue Qingzhu, who came from outside the world, finally became Taoist couples. Although he pushed for it many times, the most important thing was that the two had similar temperaments. After getting along for a long time, it became natural. Walked together. As for the bet he made with Xue Qingzhu in the past, Duan Lingtian also took the initiative to cancel it. I can't do it without canceling. After all, the new entrance to the Babel Tower is not in the Nirvana heaven, but in the Jade Emperor heaven. The bet he made with Xue Qingzhu was made before the new functions of the Tower of Babel appeared. At that time, no one thought that heaven would suddenly give the Tower of Babel new functions, and that even the strongest 7th-level experts would flock to it. The function of. On Xue Qingzhu's side, after the Epiphany, although she knew that the Babel Tower had new functions, she still planned to fulfill her promise, even if she really wanted to enter the Tower of Babel. However, in her eyes, credibility is more important. However, facing Master Feng Qingyang's aggressive eyes, Duan Lingtian did not dare to let Xue Qingzhu continue to fulfill the bet, so he immediately broke the bet. Later, after getting along for a while, the two destined people came together, and Duan Lingtian was also happy for his master. Lao Feng has finally broken away from the category of old bachelor. In the past 1,000 years, due to the emergence of new functions of the Babel Tower, whether it is a group of powerful people from all realms or outside the world, as long as they are not the kind who are about to reach the end of their lifespan and have exhausted their potential, they are basically promoted in the Tower of Babel. A lot. Over the course of 1,000 years, dozens of people have survived the tribulation of the Forbidden Realm and entered the 7th level of the strongest. Over the years, the immortals in all realms and places outside the realm have almost grown tired of reading the words of heaven. Master, has your wife entered the Tower of Babel again? In a quiet courtyard of the Xia family in the land of divine heritage, Duan Lingtian picked up a cup of tea, took a sip, and looked at his master Feng Qingyang across the table with a smile. Feng Qingyang nodded. She said she feels she is still close to a breakthrough in the way of swordsmanship. Let's see if she can complete the breakthrough in the Tower of Babel. If she really breaks through this time, she will be ahead of me in terms of achievements in the way of swordsmanship. When the words fell, Feng Qingyang's eyes were not only complicated, but also a little helpless. In fact, he had already touched the threshold of the 8th level of swordsmanship hundreds of years ago, but because of the bottleneck, he has not been able to successfully step into the 8th level to this day, and there is nothing he can do about it. Take this to make further progress in your cultivation. Master, it's not that easy to break through the 8th level. Duan Lingtian shook his head. If I hadn't inherited the complete memory of old man Wukong, I might not have reached the 8th level of swordsmanship by myself. He is self-aware. If it were not for the memory of old man Wukong, he might be able to surpass his master in other aspects, but in the way of swordsmanship, it is absolutely impossible to surpass his master. This master of his is a true swordsman monster. I'm not worried about her breakthrough. Feng Qingyang shook his head and smiled. I hope she breaks through and shows her 8th level swordsmanship in front of me. Combined with your 8th level swordsmanship, maybe I can successfully take that crucial step. Before Duan Lingtian could speak again, he changed his topic and looked around. My disciples and 2 disciples are still outside and haven't come back? Speaking of which, he really hadn't seen them in many years. Huaner stepped into the realm of the strongest some time ago, and is now inside the Tower of Babel. As for Kier and the others, they are indeed still outside, and they have been making noises about going to the outside world recently. They all want to go outside and try to step in as soon as possible. Reach the divine realm and become the most powerful person. Duan Lingtian said helplessly. As for the 2 children Xiling and Yintian, some time ago, while I was away, I took Xuanai, Xiao He, Xiao Bai and Xiao Jin to the outside world secretly, and also used the Dragon Clan space treasure almost hid it from even my law clone. However, I still followed a law clone behind them to protect them. His wives were okay and knew that he was worried about them, so before he let go, it was impossible to secretly leave the Nishan realm and go to the outside world. However, his pair of children are newborn calves, not afraid of tigers, and don't have so many worries. According to their words, their father also relied on himself to achieve today's achievement step by step. They must also follow suit and do not want to be flowers in the greenhouse. However, only he, a father, knows how many hardships and obstacles he has experienced along the way, and how many times his life has been hanging by a thread. In the past, he had no one to rely on and could only fight on his own. Now that he has become the support of his children, he naturally does not want them to take risks like his past self. When children grow up, it's normal to have their own ideas. Feng Qingyang smiled. Duan Lingtian was just about to speak when he suddenly received a summons, which was sent to him with the help of Xiao Mubai. What's wrong? Seeing the change in Duan Lingshan's expression, Feng Qingyang also realized something was wrong and asked subconsciously. Duan Lingtian raised his brows, put down the teacup in his hand. His eyes flashed. It was a message from Realm Master Xiao to me. He said that there were 3 newly promoted 7th-level powerful people in Hongming Realm, and they entered one of the foggy areas of Hongming Realm together. The mysterious entrance. I want to explore the depth of the powerful monster behind. In the end, they all died inside. Hearing this, Feng Qingyang was also stunned, and immediately took a breath of air. 3 people. No one escaped? You're tuning in to the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.